Right? You just cut out, so I don't know what you asked me.
I said, have you directed any No Pants shows, or is that like something you're interested in?
I have not, and currently it's not something I'm interested in. Maybe in the future. I'm not sure. I went through a long period where I was teaching and stuff like that, and then I have a tendency to lose track of myself when I am doing that sort of stuff. And so I needed to back off of it so that I could focus on things that I wanted to focus on. But I'm starting to get a little more itch in that area. Right before the lockdown and stuff, my friend Regina and I had plans to put together a big show that would be like Fame. You know the movie Fame, where it's like the New York performing arts high school, and so there's just like there's dancers and there's singers and there's musicians and actors, and it's like the lunchtime is suddenly like improvised songs and dances happening. And so we had this idea we would get like real musicians and real dancers and improvisers and do some kind of like Fame-esque show with the big cast. And so I would still love to do that, but it is not an online thing for sure.
No, well, I will look forward to that when we go back to real life. I just want to say hi to everybody. I'm here today with Lisa Jackson. We're talking all things improv as I go through my interviews of the No Pants cast. If you are watching anywhere else, go ahead and join us on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/NoPants Improv. That way you can interact with us in the chat, and if there are any questions that you have for Lisa or me or topics that you want us to talk about, go ahead and throw them in there. Lisa is one of the, I believe, original No Pants cast from Austin. And so I'm lucky enough to be here joining her now. Hi, Lisa.
Hi.
So you've been doing improv for many years. How did you get into it or find it, or what's your improv origin story?
I was doing, I don't know why I always preface it with this, but I was doing scripted acting, but that is not at all why I did improv. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I was doing this and I thought it would enhance my acting. But really what happened was I saw an ad in the paper for free classes. I don't care what it was, but it was free. And it was Cold Town Theater, and they had escaped Hurricane Katrina and come to Austin and started a theater here. So to get like their business rolling, they had a few sessions where they gave away free classes. And so that's what I did. And then once I got into it, I think I did maybe one or two more scripted shows and was like, never again, throw the script out.
What do you love about throwing the script out?
I like creating on the spot. I like being part of the process. I like creating with other people in the moment. Just very freeing and fun.
Yeah. So before we went live, we were talking a little bit about like the multiple creatives that sort of have to exist within you when you're doing improv. Because there's like a writer and a director and the actual improviser or actor out in the world. So it sounds like all of those people have a very happy time when you do improv.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know what else I want to say about that. Let's see. The observer, I always imagine them just like sitting on the shoulder right there, watching the show, and then like seeing the whole picture, right? While this guy, the actor, the improviser, or the character really is like in and of themselves and in the relationship. But this little God guy can see the whole picture and see what's needed in a holistic sense. Like shape of show or shape of the scene or character, where this character would go from here, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so one of the things that we talked about earlier when I was asking you about getting into improv, you said that it matched your personality very well, or it suited your personality very well. Like, can you tell me a little bit about why?
I think it fits in a lot of ways with the way that I see the world. I think, oh God, even more now than ever, I'm like, there's nothing guaranteed in life. Every day is a new day. Every moment is a new moment, and you kind of have to be in the moment to live. And I guess, improv just flows that way, like this organic river. And it's very relationship based, which is a way that my mind definitely works, of like, how do these things fit together, whether they be two characters or this scene and this scene, or this, I don't know.
Yeah, because everything exists in relation to something else, but then when you're doing improv, it's like if one person starts off like digging a hole and the other person starts off like blow drying their hair, like how are they in the same place, right? That's something like you're gonna have to justify.
And that's another part that my brain really likes too, is like, I am definitely a puzzle solver, and just this thing that's incongruent with this thing, what's the puzzle that we solve to put those two things together?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that is that's super cool. And one of the things we talked about earlier that you said that you liked about improv was that, mistakes, when you learn that mistakes were gifts. How did you learn that? Like, where did that come up?
I distinctly remember the moment. It was that I was doing a rehearsal with a group I was in called Murphy. This was early on, maybe in the first year or two. And the scene was going real quickly, and I went to sit in a chair. So like motion was going very quickly, and the like comedy was going quickly. And I went to sit in the chair and like slightly missed it. But one of my troop mates, got onto that and made that into something. And so what I would have thought was a mistake of, I was supposed to sit in this chair for this, but I didn't. I basically half fell on the floor, and that became the whole next thing. And so our coach then pointed that out and was like, mistakes are gifts. So I was like, I can fall down and it's glorious. I can totally fuck up and it's glorious. So
And not only is it like glorious for this scene in that moment, but it's also glorious in that it gave you this aha moment that shaped you and your relationship to improv and other things in life. Yeah. How does improv impact your thoughts or ideas out in the rest of your world or actions?
It's changed a lot of the way that I am with other people. I used to be very autonomous, and very just into my own stuff. I've become like a million times more social with other people. We learn all these skills in improv of basically like how to relate to other people and how to be with other people. And it's definitely like changed a lot of that stuff for me. And it also just helps reinforce that feeling of Okay, so life threw this at me. I wasn't expecting that. So now what do I do with it? And what are my like resources? What's around me? Who's in my environment that we make something else now?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Like, what perspective can I take that turns this into the gift that I know it can be?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know if this is something that you want to get into or verbalize, but I know that you are like a scientist by background and you've done a lot of reading on neuroscience and stuff. And we talked a little bit about it and improv shaping like attachment and relationships and stuff like that. And I was really curious about attachment. Like, how do you think it impacts attachment?
Oh, it might be more the opposite of like how attachment impacts it. No, it's both ways, I would say. Interesting. So, in attachment theory, we have this way that we attach to our primary caregiver, which can be secure or avoidant or anxious or a combination of avoidant and anxious. And so people act a certain way in a relationship because of that. And so because improv is relationship based, you can really see how that stuff comes out, not just in the way that you create characters, I think, but also in the way that you choose to improvise. But the thing is, our brains have neuroplasticity. And so if you had one attachment style, you can change that attachment style by having different relationships and being open to a different set of responses. And so it is, I think, actually possible in improv to have these other ways and maybe reshape how you attach to other people.
Yeah, totally. I feel like my attachment style has shifted over time into like being really strongly rooted in secure, like insecure, two separate words, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to be like a little bit more anxious, and then I was dating someone who was super avoidant, and I was just like, I can't date you because, I mean, like in my mind, I said this and it played out in its own way, but like, I can't date you because or I can't interface with your avoidantness because it'll make me anxious. Like, I can't, I'm not going to play that game with you, you know? And like, you do start to see how like being a certain way or in a relationship or whatever kind of creates this natural response to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it really takes like the watcher at a much higher level being like, this is not for me, or what, you know, but I find like I used to do a lot of coaching, life coaching and business coaching, like training the watcher to know that you don't have to play that game is like such a life-changing thing, right? Because otherwise, if you don't know that it's an option and you're not, like, I know for me, one of the biggest things improv did was it took me from yeah, but to yes, and. Like, you know, yeah, but is still a no. And I see it in coaching. And there's a great book that talks about it called question-based selling and using it in selling. But that like people want to add value to a conversation. And that usually comes in like some sort of opposite type of information because they feel like, so if you say to someone like, great day out, they're like, yeah, but it's supposed to rain later. And if you say to someone, it's supposed to rain later, they're like, yeah, but it's a great day right now. Like people sort of naturally take this opposite viewpoint. And for me, like learning to be able to say yes and was, it's in some way related. I don't know if it's like the same type of journey or what, but it's very similar to like learning to be able to be like, you know what, I need someone that can.
Yeah. I think the yes and creates a shared like a collaborative experience where the yes but is more of a competitive spirit. It's like I see what you're saying, and now I'm basically going to negate what you're saying.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like you're not present in the same conversation. It's like, yes, but I need to bring in something you haven't thought of at
Right.
some level, right? That you're like you're not considering this, and there are some people now that I see it. You know, once you wake up to it, like I see it out in the world, I see it in social relationships, like people who just they cannot help but adding in some sort of information or perspective to a conversation, which is great, you know, most of the time. But if it doesn't also come, or can be great, but if it doesn't also come with an ability to just sit with someone where they are and be like, yes to that, or enhancing that, I feel like you lose a whole range of potential human interaction.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's my thought.
I love it.
Yes. What else? Do you have any other parting thoughts for us? Are you doing anything else out in the world creative that we can catch you and come watch? Do you want to show us some dead bugs? What's going on?
Do you want to see some dead bugs?
I'd love to see some dead bugs. I would love to see your other art.
This is not a piece of art yet, but this is my murder hornet.
Well, it is huge.
It is. It's going to be part of a piece where I have Godzilla, and then it's going to be mounted so that it looks like it's fighting Godzilla. And oh, here's another one I like a lot. So this is this is a symbol for Baron Samedi, who in Vodou he guards the cemetery. And so I put this cicada inside, but I made a tiny little top hat and cane for him so that he looks like Baron Samedi. So that's the kind of stuff that I do.
I have to tell you, being in the Midwest right now, everything that I've seen that is like could be a dead bug, like it'll be a cicada sitting there and I don't know whether it's alive or dead. I'm just like, should I mail you to Lisa?
I absolutely love that people think of me on that now.
Yeah, I love it when you show me. I love that you know, like all the, I don't know what they're called, voodoo spirits, or I don't know what they're technically
called. They're called Loa.
Loa.
They're basically spirits. They're not really gods.
And you like personify them with these, but I think it's so cool. I'm like so excited to see it one day in like an art show or studio when we can do real life. Yeah. Stacy wants to know if we can do a show with dead bugs instead of puppets.
That's a good idea. Oh my god. Oh
my god.
Thinking.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for joining me today, Lisa. I had a great time. What's the next NoPants show that you're in?
I can't remember because I think it's farther off, like at the end of the month.
Okay. Well, I'll be in Shakespeare on Sunday because we do shows every Wednesday and Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Central. So join us for Shakespeare on Sunday and every show after that. And we do these interviews every Thursday at 12:30 Central. So come and join us for those, meet the cast, and see what we think about all things improv and dead bug related. Thank you so much, guys.